Alright, so I'm making a Fox body hatch LX because nothing's available. You get a GT hatch, you get an LX coupe. So what I'm doing is cut the front end off of the coupe, putting it on the front end of the Mustang, which I already cut off. You can see little tip here if you're doing this. You can see on there, cut off less than what you really want. That way you can go back, you can finish it up to the line that where you want it to be at. Alright, so really I'm doing that body line right there. I already finished this one up, cleaned it up. You can see it in there. But I cut before the body line on the bumper. That way I can take use sandpaper. I use this, it's really easy to use, a little belt sander. I can sand all the way back to that line, make it nice and smooth right there where I need this thing to line up at. So little tip there is cut less than what you need, and it gives you room to finish it up. And from there I'll be able to mold this guy on. As you can see, even the molding, the coupe has a better molding line. I really don't want to fuck up this whole body here, so I'm going to leave that part, but the front and the rear I'm going to do has a more accurate looking molding. But that'll fit up in there, so I got to finish this off. Just got to cut into the molding there so I can sand up just past it, so I can get a nice tight finish there instead of trying to fucking work backwards, trying to add back into it. There's a tip on that. So as I say, I already cut. I'm gonna try to. It's the first time doing this, so we'll see how this thing comes under there. But I'm gonna finish this up on this guy. Got it all cleaned up. You can see this one came off of this one. Fit back on there, but it fits. Fit this one, obviously had to cut it off. This one's AMT. That coupe was Revel. There's a little bit of a difference in the width here. I think by the time I cut this piece out, which it says remove anyway, I should be able to pull that out a little bit, line it up, probably use some glue to hold it together, and then I'll work on plastic welding that bitch. After you get done cutting, I'll leave a bunch of the stuff, use your X-Acto knife to cut it all out, get it nice and clean. As you can see, nice and clean, right where I need it to be. So, that'll be that. LX hatch. Not a whole lot of them out there, but there's a few. Alright, it's all cleaned up. The back end appears to fit a lot better than the front end did. Lines in here. And has to hold it anyway. The width is right. The body lines line up pretty good. Tags in the same spot, slightly recessed. So maybe a slight bit's a little off, but got the force of it there. Anyway, I like hatch. Alright, I've got the rear bumper, I guess somewhat melted on there, stuck anyway. So what I did is took my soldering iron, I have the flat, I think called spoon or whatever on it, and basically what you do is just real slow, nice and easy. I just fucking, kind of scraped it top to bottom, basically across the crack there, the seam. Got a little bit hot right here, so take your time, go slow, but really fast, and space it out, come back to it. You don't want to burn through like I did. I tried to sort of start on the outside here, as you can see in the back, that very corner. I definitely started melting. I don't know if I've seen one thing, this one I haven't touched yet, but seen a thing where a guy used all the extra stuff he cut off, like even all the say stencils with the leftover bars, whatever, then you pull all the pieces off of. he used that almost as like filler rod basically, so you can go in there and fill that, and it gives you the plastic, actual plastic instead of like a filler. So if you go and paint it, you really shouldn't see a difference in material. And sometimes the filler will, it'll maybe soak in the paint different than the plastic will take it. So that's one thing to consider. I don't know if I want to go that route. Just I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience doing that. I don't want to buy a ton of these. I've already cut this once. I don't want to really have to go back and do this whole process again. I may just do epoxy. We'll see how I feel about it. I may somewhat try it. The worst case is I guess you just sand it down, do the best you can. I'm gonna probably end up using epoxy to do the wide body flares, just because I somewhat tried on that coupe to use the knife and pull it out, but really just pushes through the fender and melts it on, kind of bubbles it up really. So I'm probably gonna make the flares out of epoxy as it is. So I'm buying epoxy. I might just go ahead and fill that gap with epoxy and everything. I might try the plastic just to give it a shot. You can tell the difference between the two companies. One's very white, one is yellow for the plastic wise. The AMT kit is in off-white. Revel is the very whiter color. Seems like the Revel kit is slightly a little bit better, more detailed in ways. AMT kit, some things I really don't like all the front and rear end was already assembled on it, so you're getting all the details and stuff in there. It doesn't get you quite as detailed on it, but it is what it is. I was debating using the Revel, and it comes the bottom piece is separate from the interior piece, so it gives you like a sandwich deal, a little more detail on it. But I think I'm gonna use the AMT piece just because it fits this kit. So I'm gonna get on that and see what we do. All right, I was really hoping to keep this piece so I could use it to hang or whatever when I go to paint it, but in order to stick this piece on, I'm gonna have to remove it so I can pull the fenders apart, because the width, this one I'll keep even. Let's see how what the width difference is, the body versus the bumper. So I'm gonna have to pull the fenders out a little bit so that it matches up. So much for keeping this piece. It needs to get removed anyway, but like I said, I was hoping to be able to use that to paint with. So much for that. And on that, I think I'm going to go ahead and do some more reshaping there, make sure I get all that out of there so it sits nice and flush in that. I don't want that rocking in there like so. We've got a little bit of a piece in there, kind of keeping it from sitting flush on both ends. But nonetheless, now that I got that cut out of there, pull it apart and get it even. So there's that. I got a little more work to do on this. Small intricate shit. Kind of expect some of that stuff. Take your time, go nice and easy. It's always easier to take stuff off than it is to put it back on. Especially keeping it nice. Obviously sand it all down anyway, so if we want to do all that body work, go for it. But let's see if I got anything over here I need to do first before I get all wild and do the other side. Now this one sits pretty decent. Not crazy amount of gap either way. This side not so much. So definitely have a piece, some to get out right in here. I may need to smooth some of that out as well. So I'm gonna get on that, and then maybe get another video of I'll actually get a video of me melting it together, plastic welding. So do a little bit of sanding in there as well to also get the fender and the front end to line up a little bit. The width there is a little bit different. Get the body line even. Get the lines just even. So a lot of work to be done. It's two different brands, models, so you kind of got to expect stuff like that, differences and everything. So that's that. And I'm gonna get to it. Fucking spam callers fucking up my videos. quite a gap there too. I'm gonna have to use some plastic to fill that. I don't know if you can see how much of a gap that is, but apparently this is a lot like TIG welding. If you've ever done TIG welding, that really needs to be really close, practically touching for it to work well. What appears is that you may still see a gap somewhat, but as long as it's not 100% through, you know, it'll be a thin line, not so much a straight through line. You can see in there. So you still see the line, but you can't really see through it. It's just very thin. At that point it is, as you could say, sort of welded together. It is stuck. So at that point I might go through and add some plastic to it. You know, where it is melted is less plastic, so that's why you can see the line still. And it's two different colors as it is, so it's going to be a line there at some point. But I think I would fill that in. I'm probably going to try to fill that in with some plastic, practice on the back side first before I really get to the front side. I might kind of want to try that. Filling in with the plastic being the same material versus epoxy, even though I got to do the fucking flares as epoxy because I don't know how another way to push this out to give it a flare. So I tried on the coupe here just to test it because I don't care about this one, and that's what I ended up with. That does not look good at all. So I tried pushing on it, it really just melted it, thinned it out, bubbled it up. So that is not going to work. This thing I was thinking about just doing some kind of, now that I have this, some kind of race car maybe or drift things. I have the Skyline that I'm not going to use. I only bought it for the tail light, so maybe I'll do the RV in this thing, make it a drift build or something like that, something cool, stupid. We'll see where I go with this thing. Even if I just use the 302 stuff and just make it look like a project car of some sort, you know, sit on jack stand and missing parts and pieces and stuff. But got some fixing. I think I'm gonna fix that trunk somewhat. That's why I had to cut out. Obviously, I didn't care about cutting this because I needed certain parts not to be cut on that in order to work right. So that was my safe area. Either way, this would be something else. This is the main one, so I now have a hatch LX that nobody seems to make, and that's how I did that on the body. I'm going to go through, that'll probably be the end of this video, just to do that on the body work. But I'll probably continue making the video of making the actual car. So there's this. And one more thing before we go, like I said, keep all these plastic pieces that you cut off. You can snip it down to small pieces, and then that's what you use to melt into that, and all those little cracks. So especially these, I have nice good sized pieces here. Or I saw the one guy using, he was using all this stuff, so he would cut it into really small little rounds, and from there he would take those and basically dip it onto there, and you have a little piece of it's almost like soldering. You have a little piece that you can start working into that crack. So I'm going to try that. I might actually try that on the trunk of this coupe first, see how that works for me, because I got some gaps here to fill and whatnot. So we'll see how that works, and if I feel confident with going through and filling it with that, or just buy some epoxy and fill it in. So I'm doing the epoxy anyway for the fender, so I'm not upset either way. But it would be nice to be able to use plastic, so it's the same material. Like you said, the epoxy you can usually see, or a lot of the time, not all the time, but depending on how you prep it and everything. Apparently you can see a lot of times the difference, like maybe it soaks into the epoxy so it doesn't quite get that shine, or it's got a line. I've seen it in real cars before, or maybe they just didn't prep it and seal it right, but we'll see how that turns out. That's that. I want to get back, I just wanted to let you know about all that. You keep the extra plastics if you want to do filling with plastic, keep it all the same material and sanding it down anyway. So there's that.